So this tutorial is a basic introduction to Adobe Audition, and Adobe Audition is the Adobe product for multi-track recording. It's the audio. So for your assignment, you are asked to produce a story using character voices, sound effects, and music. So when we open Audition, and we go to File New, we have the choices of a multi-track session, audio file, or CD layer. We want a multi-track session. Now, like many of these Adobe project apps, it's very important to put everything into a containing folder because we're linking to things. So I will make a folder here called Audio Story. I'm just making it on my desktop, and I'll choose that as the location, and I'll name my project file Audio Story. Maybe project, Audio Story project. Now I'm just taking the defaults here. The sample rate of 44/100 bit depth stereo. Okay, so I haven't changed anything there. The multi-track session will open with a default of 6 tracks, which should be enough, and a master track. So let's just look at these 6 tracks for the moment. If we want to record on track 1, for example, then we have these 3 buttons at the top. So let's say I'm going to call this, let's call this Bob. So if we have a character called Bob, then we're going to put Bob in here. To record Bob's lines, we have 3 buttons at the top. Mute means turn it off, temporarily turn the volume to 0. Solo means turn everything else to volume to 0, and record to arm for record. So I can see by looking at this that the levels are okay. If I'm really in here, then it's up in the red, it's too high. If I'm back here talking really softly, it's probably too low. So you can see about where we want it to have the level. By the way, I'm just using my laptop microphone here. I'm not using any external microphone. The laptop microphone will be fine for this assignment. So I can now hit record and go, hello, I'm Bob, and this is the first line from Bob. And then I hit the space bar to stop recording and go back and listen to it. Hello, I'm Bob, and this is the first line from Bob. Now, I may be happy with that, or I may want to do it again. If I decide to do it again, I can just go back to the part that I'm not happy with and hit record again. This is Bob's first line, and I think this is a much better take. So I'm happy with that one. At some point, I might say, oh, okay, I want to record Bob's second line. So I'm going to sort of leave a little space here. And this is Bob's second line, and it goes like this. Okay, so I now have Bob's first line, Bob's second line. I can scrub over the lines. This line, I think this is a much better take. This is Bob's second line, and it goes like this. Okay, so I think you get the idea. So I would put all of Bob's lines in here. Maybe before, and I can move it across. So before Bob's second line, let's say track 2, let's say another character. Let's say this is Mary. Then Mary has a line perhaps. So I'm going to stop recording on the Bob track, and I'm now going to record on Mary's track. So I would get my Mary actor in to record Mary's line. So this is Mary's first line, and it goes like this. So with these pieces here, I can then, this is Mary's first line, and it goes like this. Now, by the way, I can hear a click at the end of the recording there. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit until I can see, and I can see the click here. Let's have a look at that click. Yeah, I don't want that click. So I'm just going to pull the click back a bit. It's like this. And now I haven't got a click there. So leave a little space after you speak the last word before you actually hit the space bar, so that you have some silence after the speaking to cut into, to remove the clicks. Now, there's not really much more to say. If you want to get a bit fancy, you might want to try the effects rack. Now, over here we have an effects rack. I'm looking at Mary's track now. By the way, I'm not recording on Mary's track. There's different different kind of effects, and I'm not going to go through all of these. Some of them are about noise reduction, some reverb if you want to, make it sound like you're in a big empty space. One that's quite fun is the pitch shifter, and with the pitch shifter, for example, a girl's voice is typically a bit higher than a man's voice. So if I take Mary's voice up 5 semitones, then Mary...
This is Mary's first line, and it goes like this.
So Mary can sound like that. And the other way, of course, is to, let's say, if we take Bob's voice and went the other way. So let's say if we take Bob down 5 semitones, then Bob's voice will...
Hello, this is Bob, and this is first line, and I think...
Oh, by the way, I think I need to get rid of the earlier version. Right, Bob 2.
This is Bob's first line, and I think this is a much better take.
This is Mary's first line, and it goes like this.
Yeah, is there anything else to say about that? Just one more thing, maybe to look at the pitch shifter again for Mary. We can increase the overlap and go for maybe a medium or a high precision sound, and that will improve.
This is Mary's first line, and it goes like this.
Yeah, so if you find that when you use if you use these filters, if the quality of the sound seems to be dropping, just play around with those settings. So let's talk for a moment about sound effects. The website I quite like is this freesfx.co.uk. You do need to create an account so that you can download music. But let's just have a look at how this site is set up. So it has sound effects. So let's say I'm looking for a sound effect from, I don't know, cartoon or comical. Let's say I'm looking for a, I don't know, a bang or a boink. So, I'm not sure why, but that might be exactly the sound I'm looking for. So I can download the MP3 file, agree to the terms. By the way, the terms are that certainly for video images, if you're uploading a video, that you should give a credit to freesfx.co.uk in your credits. So we'll agree to that. And of course, it's in my downloads folder. So before I bring it into my project, I'm going to drag it across to my audio story file. So you can see it's in here. Now, while I'm in Free SFX, I might also have a look at their music. This is all royalty-free music. So again, we're able to use this music as long as we give it a credit. So again, there's categories of music here. Let's have a look at this. Busy, hectic. Right, that didn't sound very interesting. What's this one? Why am I not hearing anything there? Okay. So I've decided that's exactly what I want, and so I will do the same. I'll download that and drag it when it comes down to my project folder. Okay, so back in Audition, let's first of all make track 3 a sound effects track. You may need more than one sound effects track if you've got, for example, an ambient noise of a crowd that goes through and then some special effects. But let's put the sound onto here. So I'm going to go to Insert File, and I'm going to go to my audio story and put my cartoon boing in here. And
this is Bob's first line.
So you can see that the file has been inserted here, and of course I can drag it to wherever I want it to be in time. I can also trim the sound if I find that it goes on for a bit too long. Now, just one thing I might point out here is that we have a files panel, and we can see that we have the session file and we have, for example, the cartoon boing. Now I can look just carefully at the cartoon boing. If I want to get back to my session file, I click on the session file. Same thing with the music, so we'll put the music on here. We'll insert the music file, and it's quite long, so yeah, there's no way I probably want it that long. I'm going to just bring it to however long I want it, and let's just open it up a bit more now. So let's see what we've got now.
This is Bob's first line, and I think this is...
Now, I quite like the music, but I do want it to be fading in and out. So we're just going to open up the Read Show Envelopes volume. Show Envelopes volume. And with this envelopes, we can put in keyframes. So I'm going to put a keyframe, say here. I'm going to fade the music up by dragging it up here. And then once the speaking starts, I'm going to take it down in volume. So
this is Bob's first line, and I think this is a much better take.
Okay, so I think that's probably enough to show you here. When we when we want to do to take the sound out of here and mix it down, under multi-track we have a mix down sessions for a new file. So I'm going to mix down the entire session, and that now gives me a normal stereo sound, and you can see it's saved here as mix down 1. So to save that mix down, we can now, with it highlighted, we can now just go save as, and again, we make sure you know where you're saving it. So I'm going to my audio story. I might make a folder called Mixdown, and you might do a few of these different ones. So I'm just going to call it Audio Mix 1, just to test it all. You have a choice of WAV file and MP3, probably are the two most common. I'm going to save it as an MP3 file. The sample rate is still the original sample rate, and it'll give us a warning that things are going to be compressed. That's okay, I'm not going to worry about that. And so now you can see it's a normal MP3 file.
This is Bob's first line, and I think this is a much better tape.
This is Mary's first line, and it goes like this.
This is Bob's second line.
Okay, so I hope that gives you an idea of the basics of Adobe Audition, and with those basics you should have enough knowledge to do this next assignment. Feel free to play around with Audition. It can do so much more, and there are plenty of YouTube videos on more advanced features for Audition. So again, guys, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing what you produce.